I'm Melanie Evans, 36, and I built my career from the ground up. No shortcuts, no handouts. For years, I showed up for my family in every way that mattered, covering bills, planning holidays, and offering help before anyone even asked. But when they planned a full family vacation and didn't even include me, not in the invite, not in the group chat, not in the conversation, I made a quiet decision that shifted everything. Have you ever been cast aside by the very people you supported without hesitation? If that sounds familiar, share your story in the comments, because trust me, you're not alone. Before I walk you through what really happened, drop where you're watching from. And if you've ever had to draw the line after being taken for granted, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more true stories about taking your power back. Because what happened next wasn't loud, but it left a mark. I'm the oldest of 4, 2 brothers, 1 sister. Then there were the cousins, 6 of them, who lived close enough that they felt more like siblings. Our parents made sure we grew up close, especially after Grandpa died. Family dinners, weekend barbecues, game nights that lasted until someone cried and someone else stormed off. The usual, but no matter how messy things got, I was always the one who held us together. When Dad lost his job for the second time, I was still in college. He didn't ask, but I sent money anyway. I picked up extra shifts tutoring freshmen and quietly wired what I could to Mom's account. My siblings were too young to understand what was going on, but Mom did. She just never said thank you. I don't think she meant it cruelly, it just never occurred to her. After graduation, I moved back home for a while. Everyone said I was being generous, but really I didn't have a choice. I was paying off student loans and trying to build a career in marketing. Commuting made more sense than rent. Still, I contributed to the groceries, covered my brother's braces when insurance denied the claim, and paid for my sister's driving lessons. None of that was ever discussed. It was just assumed I'd handle it. The pattern kept going. My cousin Derek asked me to help with his resume. That turned into a mock interview, then a full rework of his LinkedIn, then more calls when he started applying for jobs. He got a role in tech sales, said it was a dream come true, never mentioned my name. Another cousin, Lauren, needed a reference for grad school. I filled it out the night before her deadline and drove her to the interview because her car had died. She got in. Her mom posted about how proud she was. I didn't even get a tag. I told myself it didn't matter. That family didn't owe me public thanks. That helping them was the right thing to do, and most of the time I meant it. I wasn't keeping score. But it's hard not to notice when the help only goes one way. I planned birthdays, paid for the cake, the balloons, the deposit on the party room. When we took a group trip to Disney World, 2 aunts, 3 cousins, all 4 siblings, I booked the tickets and covered the shortfall when the hotel cost more than expected. No one paid me back. I never asked. And the truth is, if you'd asked me then if I felt used, I probably would have said no. Not because I didn't see it, but because I didn't want to admit it. I thought that being dependable was the same thing as being included. That giving was how you stayed part of something. It wasn't just the money. When someone needed childcare, I stepped in. If a cousin was having relationship problems, I was the one they called. I spent hours on the phone with my brother when he failed his first semester. Helped him make a plan, helped him get back on track. He graduated last year. Didn't invite me to the dinner afterward. Said it was just a small thing with close friends. Still, I kept showing up. Every time. I told myself that family meant consistency, that maybe some people showed love by receiving, not giving. Then last Thanksgiving, something small shifted. I offered to host. My apartment isn't huge, but I'd done it before. I had a plan, 2 tables, extra chairs, potluck style to keep things manageable. I sent out the group text. One cousin said she'd already made plans. Another ghosted the thread completely. My sister said she wasn't sure she'd make it. In the end, only my parents came. We ate in the living room. No one brought dessert. My mom made an offhand comment about how maybe people were getting too old for traditions. I nodded like I understood. A week later, my cousin Lauren posted a photo from a different gathering. Everyone else was there, turkey, stuffing, matching sweaters. I hadn't even known it was happening. I stared at the photo for a long time, not angry, just confused. I showed it to my mom. She squinted at the screen and said, "Oh, that must have been something last minute." 17 people don't throw a potluck together by accident. Still, I let it go. I sent gifts at Christmas. attended a baby shower in January, congratulated my sister on her new apartment even though she never invited me over. I smiled through it all. Then came April. And that was when I learned, for certain, that I was no longer part of this family the way I thought I was. It started slow. The group chats went quiet for me, but I didn't think much of it at first. People get busy. Conversations move to other platforms. I figured I'd missed a few messages, that was all. But then one afternoon, my brother mentioned something about a group dinner for Derek's birthday. I hadn't heard anything about it. "Was that this weekend?" I asked. He looked confused. "Yeah, didn't Lauren add you to the chat?" "She hadn't." I didn't press, just nodded like I must have missed it. But later that night, I scrolled back through my messages, double-checked every thread. Nothing. They posted photos the next day. Big round table, pictures of sangria, plates of cake. Derek with his arm around my sister, both of them laughing. I clicked through every picture. No one looked like they'd even thought of me. When I texted Lauren, she replied with, "Oops, I thought you were working." Then a second message, "Next time for sure." That was her go-to excuse. Work. It was what everyone used when they wanted to exclude me without sounding harsh. And to be fair, I do work a lot, but I always made time for family. I just stopped asking to be included in things after a while. It became easier. The beach trip was worse. It was supposed to be a family reunion, 3 nights at a rental house on the coast. I booked the place on Airbnb, covered the deposit, and paid for the extra cleaning fee because we had 2 toddlers and a dog coming. Everyone Venmo'd me what they could, most of them late, some never at all, but I picked up the slack. Again. We got there late Friday. I'd driven up straight from a work presentation. When I arrived, the rooms were already assigned. My name wasn't on any of the doors. I asked where I should sleep and my cousin said, "Oh, there's a pull-out couch in the den." I looked around. Every adult had a proper bed. One room had 3 kids in it, all under 8. Another was left mostly empty because Aunt Maria needs quiet to sleep. Aunt Maria also needed the ground floor, which was fine. But I noticed later that night she spent most of her time upstairs with the cousins, chatting loudly over wine. So much for the knees. The couch was stiff and smelled like sunscreen. I barely slept. No one said thank you. Sunday morning, I offered to take the kids to the beach so the parents could relax. Packed snacks, brought extra towels, kept them entertained for hours. That night, my cousin posted a photo of the group around a bonfire. I wasn't in it. I'd been inside cleaning up after dinner. When I got back home, I sent a group message about splitting the grocery costs. No one replied. A week later, Lauren finally wrote back, "Let me check with Mark." She never followed up. Then in September, I borrowed my niece's iPad to help her with a school project. She handed it to me still unlocked. I clicked into Safari by accident and saw the open tab, a group message on WhatsApp I didn't recognize. Dozens of names, family names. They were planning a birthday dinner for my dad. A surprise. I scrolled up. One message from Lauren stood out. "Don't invite her, she makes it awkward." The conversation kept going. No one objected. Someone even replied, "Yeah, she always takes over anyway." I locked the screen and handed the iPad back. My niece didn't notice anything was off. I smiled like everything was fine. Later that night, I sat in bed and went over every holiday, every text, every favor I'd done. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. I just started redoing the math. What I'd given, what I'd got. I didn't confront anyone. I wasn't ready to be gaslit by my own relatives. I knew exactly how it would go. They'd say it was a misunderstanding, that it was a joke, that I'd misread it. So I said nothing. The next time I saw them was Thanksgiving. I showed up with 3 side dishes and a bottle of wine. They were surprised to see me. "Oh," Lauren said, "we thought you were with friends this year." I just smiled and said, "Change of plans." The table was already set. No space for me. My mom moved a couple chairs to make room. I ended up half-tucked at the end, sitting between 2 kids who barely ate anything and spent most of the meal playing games on a tablet. Halfway through dinner, someone spilled cranberry sauce on my dress. No one noticed. After dessert, I offered to help clean up. My cousin looked at me and said, No, you're a guest, just relax." I'd never been called a guest in that house before. The next morning, I checked Instagram. They'd tagged the evening as our favorite annual tradition with the core crew. I wasn't in any of the photos. I started watching more closely after that. Little things, like who was copied on emails about family plans, who got invited to baby showers, who got tagged in throwbacks. My name was missing more often than not. And when I asked, no one ever said they didn't want me around. They just made it seem like I'd excluded myself. We thought you were tired. We figured you were too busy. You never said you wanted to come. It was always my fault somehow. Even my sister started to pull away. She got close to Lauren, closer than they'd ever been growing up, started calling her sis in captions. When I asked if she wanted to grab lunch one weekend, she said she had plans with the girls. I knew what that meant. I stayed polite, still sent birthday cards, still showed up when invited, even if I had to sit at the kids' table or get added last minute to a dinner reservation. I stopped offering to host, stopped reminding people of upcoming events. No one noticed. And if they did, no one said anything. Until the vacation, that was the moment it stopped being subtle. That was when they made it clear they didn't just forget to include me, they chose not to. I didn't find out from a phone call or a text or even a forwarded email. It was a photo, posted casually like it was any other weekend. My cousin Lauren had tagged 15 people in it, not including me. They were standing in front of a resort entrance, all of them wearing matching t-shirts that read Martin Family Vacation 2024. 17 people, 4 cars, my parents, my siblings, all the cousins, everyone I grew up with, everyone I used to host holidays for, everyone I had helped, supported, and covered for over the years. Everyone but me. I stared at the photo for a long time, trying to make sense of it. I thought maybe it was old, maybe I'd missed something, but then I saw the timestamp, posted just an hour ago. My aunt was in the comments, "So happy to finally be together again," my mom replied. "We've been waiting for this trip for so long." That part was true. We talked about doing a big family vacation for years. Ever since the last one, back when we still needed booster seats and packed peanut-free snacks for the road. There was always a reason to delay it. Someone's schedule, someone's budget, someone's pregnancy. But apparently they'd made it happen, without me. I didn't call anyone, I didn't even ask right away. I just kept scrolling. Photos of poolside cocktails, a group hike, my dad in a beach chair, legs up, beer in hand. My sister laughing in a restaurant with a napkin on her head. My youngest cousin building a sandcastle. My brother tagged himself in a video captioned, "Family Olympics, Day 2. The next morning, I finally asked. I called my mom, she picked up on the second ring chipper. "Hey honey, everything okay?" I didn't bother with small talk. "Where are you guys?" She hesitated. "Oh, we're just on a little trip, nothing big." I let the silence stretch, she filled it. The family finally managed to coordinate dates. You know how hard that is. "You didn't think to invite me." There was a pause, then she laughed like I'd caught her in something silly, not cruel. "We thought you were busy." That's all she said, no apology, no second thought, no hint that it might have hurt me. I didn't reply. She started to say something else, but I hung up, not abruptly, not out of anger. I just didn't see the point in continuing the conversation. I went back to Instagram. She'd posted again. This time it was a photo of the whole group at a long outdoor table. Plates of food, wine glasses, tiki torches. The caption said, "Family time finally complete." That was what did it. Not just the exclusion, not just the lie, but the idea that this group without me, was what she called complete. I stared at the word until the letters stopped making sense. Then I closed the app, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to call her back. I wasn't going to ask for an explanation. I wasn't going to beg for space in a family I had already outgrown. Instead, I called Marcus. He's a friend from college, now in real estate. We worked on a few projects together over the years, me on the branding side, him on the property side. I remembered him mentioning, months ago, that he was working with a struggling resort down south. Boutique place, good bones, bad management. I texted him, "Is that property still on the market?" He called me 5 minutes later. "Still interested?" he asked. I didn't give him the backstory, I just said, How soon can we close? That night, I stayed up reading everything I could about the resort. The guest reviews, the location, the revenue reports. I wasn't looking for a money-making investment. I was looking for something specific. A symbol, a reset, a quiet reclaiming of space. 2 days later, we submitted the paperwork. No one knew, not my friends, not my coworkers, not anyone in the family. I told myself it was better that way. Cleaner, quieter. I wasn't trying to create a scene. I didn't want an audience. What I wanted was control, not revenge, not drama, just the ability to say yes or no, to decide who was welcome, and who was. The sale closed 3 days later. Marcus handled the legal side. I signed the papers from my office. No ceremony, no champagne. I waited until the family posted another photo. They were back at the resort, same one. I recognized the patio tiles, the mural behind the bar. It was all still there, still theirs. At least they thought so. I called the property manager directly, introduced myself as the new owner, asked for a list of current reservations, asked for the names under each one. He read them aloud. My dad, my mom, my siblings, cousins, every single one of them. Then I asked him to cancel them. No explanation, he said. None, I replied. Just revoke access, flag the names, print a letter and have it ready at the front desk. He didn't ask more questions. I booked a flight that night. They were scheduled to arrive 2 days later, plenty of time. I landed the morning of, checked in using my new title, walked the grounds. The place was small but beautiful, cleaned up well. Staff had already started implementing a few of the changes I'd requested. New signs, new uniforms, a few decor updates. No one knew who I was, just another guest. That was how I wanted it. I had lunch on the terrace, wrote a couple emails, walked down to the beach and watched the waves roll in. Around 3 p.m., the vans started pulling in. I recognized the first car immediately. My brother behind the wheel, my mom in the passenger seat. She was wearing the same sun hat she'd worn in last year's family photo. It looked cheap. I don't know why that mattered. They got out smiling, chatting. My sister followed with Lauren, all of them relaxed, unaware. I stayed seated. I didn't move, not yet. Inside the lobby, I saw the front desk manager approach them. Heard him say, "I'm sorry, there's been a change in ownership. Your reservation has been canceled by the new owner." Confusion, raised voices. My dad stepping forward asking to speak to management. The staff didn't falter. They pointed toward the bar. I stood up, walked over, and when my dad turned and saw me standing there, arms crossed, calm, he froze. I looked at my mom, her expression shifted slowly, first confusion, then recognition, then something else. I said nothing. They didn't either. I watched them argue with the front desk manager for a full minute before I stepped in. No one noticed me at first. I let them run through the usual routine, my dad raising his voice, my mom insisting there was a mistake, my cousin Derek flipping through confirmation emails on his phone like that would change anything. The front desk manager stayed calm. He kept his voice even, repeated the same line, "Your reservation has been revoked. You'll need to speak with the owner." Then he glanced in my direction. I nodded. When I stepped forward, no one said anything right away. My dad blinked like he was trying to process what he was seeing. My sister looked straight past me as if I was just another guest. My mom squinted. She didn't even say my name. I didn't give them a speech. I didn't explain what was happening. I just said, "You're not staying here." That was it. It took another few seconds for them to understand what that meant. My mom tried the smile she always used when she wanted to smooth things over. "Okay, honey, what's going on? Is this some kind of joke?" "No," I said, "it's not." My dad stepped forward. "You can't be serious." I didn't answer. He asked to speak with the manager again. I told him he already had. They kept trying. They asked where they were supposed to go. They said they had kids with them. My cousin mentioned they'd paid non-refundable deposits. I didn't budge. Eventually, the group splintered. A few tried calling other hotels. Some stood around texting. My mom sat down on a bench outside the lobby and stared at the ground. My sister avoided eye contact the whole time. No one apologized. I went back inside. The next morning, I had breakfast on the terrace. The sun was out, the air warm. I brought my laptop with me, handled a few emails. The property staff was quick, everything Marcus promised. They were already adapting. I made notes about a few updates I wanted: new signage, an improved menu, better lighting in the dining area. I checked Instagram. Lauren had posted a story: worst start to a vacation ever. A blurry video of the lobby. You could hear someone arguing in the background, but not enough to make out words. No mention of me. Another cousin posted a photo of a roadside diner with the caption, "Well, that was unexpected." Still, no one texted me directly. No calls, no emails. Not even from my mom. I thought maybe I'd feel triumphant. I didn't. I didn't feel angry either. Just done. That night, I called Marcus to let him know how everything had gone. He laughed. "I didn't think you'd actually go through with it." "I did," I said. He asked if I wanted help flipping the place or if I planned to hold it. I told him I wasn't sure yet. For now, I just wanted to be there. Quietly, no one to host, no one to take care of, just me, the staff, and a stack of paperwork. I stayed at the resort for 3 more days, kept a low profile, didn't tell anyone else I was in town. Each day, I checked the family group chat. They kept posting like nothing had happened. A new dinner photo, a picture of the kids at a public beach, a group shot in front of a chain hotel with the caption, "Making the best of it." No one mentioned the canceled reservation. No one explained what went wrong. It was like they were all silently agreeing not to talk about it. That was the part that got me, more than anything. The way they pretended nothing had happened. The way they pretended I hadn't happened. I thought back to the years I'd spent helping them, rearranging my schedule, covering costs, putting up with thoughtless comments. How many group texts I'd started. How many times I'd followed up on plans. How many favors I'd done without being asked, because I just assumed that's what you do when you care about people. But when the roles reversed, when they had the chance to notice my absence, they didn't. And when I showed up, not as the helper, not as the fixer, but as someone with actual power, they didn't ask why. They just got uncomfortable and left. I thought about that more than I wanted to. Back in my room, I pulled up a photo from one of our old reunions. 10 years ago. My dad grilling burgers, my mom arranging lawn chairs, the kids running barefoot through the grass. I was in the background, setting up folding tables. Always working in the background. Always trying to make things easier for everyone else. I deleted the photo. Later that week, Marcus sent over a contractor's estimate for the patio renovations. I approved it. Then I made another call to a nonprofit that does retreat weekends for women in transition. Asked if they'd be interested in using the resort during the off-season. They said yes. I didn't tell anyone in the family about that either. I left the resort on a Wednesday morning, drove myself to the airport, no big send-off, no one waiting at home, just a clean break. A few days after I got back, I got a text from my sister. It said, "So are we going to talk about what happened?" I didn't answer. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I finally understood something. When people decide you're not part of the group, you can't convince them otherwise by being useful. You can't fix your way back into being wanted. They either see you or they don't. And the minute you stop letting them ignore you, the whole dynamic shifts. It's not revenge, it's clarity. And once you have that, you don't really need anything else. The night before they were set to arrive, I sat in the living room with my laptop open. There wasn't much to write, just a simple message: cancel the Martin family reservation, effective immediately. Flag the names, prepare a formal letter for check-in. I attached the ownership documents just in case anyone questioned the authority. No drama, no confrontation, just business. The property manager replied within the hour, "Understood, we'll handle it professionally." I closed the laptop, sat there for a few minutes, phone in hand. I hadn't told anyone what I was doing. No one knew I owned the place now. No one knew I'd seen every story, every photo, every caption that quietly erased me. Then my phone lit up, a message from my aunt. We hadn't spoken in months, not since she forgot to tell me about a cousin's engagement party. Her text said, "Hey, you okay?" That was it, no context, no mention of the trip, just that one line like she'd sensed something. I stared at it for a few seconds, then put my phone face down. I didn't answer. The next morning, I packed a carry-on, called a car, and headed to the airport. I had no idea what I'd do when I got there. No speech prepared, no moment planned. I just knew I didn't want to watch it unfold from a distance. I checked into the owner's suite that afternoon. The resort looked different with me on the inside. The staff was respectful, courteous. They'd gotten the memo. My name was on the welcome letter in the room, printed in crisp black ink, Ms. Evans, owner. I sat on the balcony that evening and watched the ocean roll in. Thought about the last time I'd been on a family trip. 6 years ago, before the quiet distancing, before the exclusions. Back when I still got the texts, still held the camera for the group shots, still bought extra sunscreen in case anyone forgot. This time, I brought nothing. I ordered dinner to the room, finished a short work memo while I ate, answered 2 emails, ignored 3 more. I slept well that night. The morning of their arrival, I went down to the terrace around 10, ordered coffee, brought a book but didn't read it. I just watched. By noon, the lobby started to buzz. I recognized the first group the moment they walked in. My brother, looking tired. His girlfriend beside him, pulling 2-wheeled suitcases. Behind them, my mom, white sun hat, oversized sunglasses, sandals with the tag still on. She didn't look around, just walked straight to the desk. The front desk manager greeted them politely. "I'm sorry, there's been a change," he said. "Your reservation is no longer valid." Confusion, shuffling of papers, raised eyebrows. My dad arrived a few minutes later with more of the group. Same shirts as the post. Martin Family Vacation 2024. The desk manager repeated it. "Your names have been flagged. The reservation has been canceled at the request of ownership." I watched it happen from my table, 2 levels up. Quiet, detached, I didn't feel glee, didn't feel power, just distance. Someone said my name, I couldn't hear who. A few heads turned toward the terrace. And then someone spotted me. My dad's voice carried, "Wait, is that her?" I stood up, walked down the stairs, stopped a few feet away. "I'm the owner now," I said. No one spoke for a second. Then my mom stepped forward. "Is this some kind of prank?" "No," I said, "it's not." I handed a letter to the manager, already signed. He placed it on the counter in front of them. It read, "Reservation revoked. Guests not permitted on premises. Owner's discretion." My cousin Derek shook his head. "You've got to be kidding me. You did this because you weren't invited." "I did this," I said, "because you've all spent years making it clear that I don't belong. So now I don't." My sister finally spoke. "You could have just said something. You didn't have to." "I did say something, over and over. You just didn't hear it." They stood there like they were waiting for me to take it back. I didn't. Eventually, they scattered, some to the parking lot, some made phone calls. A few stayed inside, looking lost. The staff handled it calmly. No scenes, no yelling. I went back to my room. A few hours later, I got another text, this time from my mom. "You embarrassed us, was that your goal?" I didn't reply. She sent another one, "We didn't mean to hurt you." Still, I said nothing. That evening, I had dinner alone on the patio. I watched the sun go down and listened to the quiet hum of the resort without them in it. It felt peaceful, like air returning to a room after too many voices have left it heavy. The next day, Marcus called. "You good?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Actually, I am." He didn't press, just told me the renovation team could start next month if I wanted. I told him to move forward. After we hung up, I checked my phone. Aunt Maria had posted a photo of a crowded restaurant with the caption, "When plans fall through, make new ones." My cousin Lauren posted a blurry picture of a beach. No location tag, no faces, just waves. They were already rewriting it, reframing the story, pretending it was just a mix-up, an overbooking, something that happened to them not because of them. But I didn't need them to know why. I didn't need them to admit anything. Because I wasn't asking for inclusion anymore. I wasn't asking for permission. That part of my life was done. And the consequences, they weren't punishment. They were just the natural result of a decision I made, quietly, deliberately, and on my own terms. They didn't leave right away. After the front desk told them they had no rooms, they lingered in the lobby for nearly an hour. I stayed out of sight. I'd said what I needed to say. I didn't need to watch them scramble for a plan B. I'd spent enough of my life watching them make last-minute decisions and assume someone else, usually me, would fix it. This time, I wasn't the backup plan. From upstairs, I could see them through the window in the lounge. My brother pacing with his phone pressed to his ear. My cousin at the front desk again, arguing quietly. My mom sitting on one of the lobby couches with her purse in her lap, like she was waiting for a delayed flight. No one looked like they had a next step. It hadn't occurred to any of them that they'd be turned away, that I'd be the one to do it. I watched long enough to see one group start walking toward the parking lot. Then I closed the curtains. Later that night, I took a walk around the property. The resort was mostly empty. It was shoulder season, and I hadn't opened bookings for the next few weeks. I liked the quiet. For the first time in years, I wasn't managing anyone else's chaos. I wasn't preparing for arrivals, double-checking plans, or stepping in when someone dropped the ball. I was just alone, and fine with it. That week, I set up meetings with the property team. We went over plans for renovations, staffing, branding. I wasn't rushing anything. I wanted to build this place slowly, on purpose, without compromise. Every decision was mine. Meanwhile, the texts kept coming. First from my sister. "You made your point, can we talk?" Then from my mom again. "I don't understand what this was really about." Eventually, even Lauren messaged. "This was low, I hope it made you feel better." I didn't answer any of them. There was nothing to clarify. They understood exactly what happened, they just didn't want to face why it had. After a few days, I saw photos of them at another hotel. Not as nice. Nothing posted publicly, just stories sent to their close friends lists. Someone must have mentioned I was watching, or maybe they assumed I was. The captions were quieter. "No family time, finally complete this time," just vague notes, "made it work," or "laughing through the chaos." A few people started deleting old posts from the original trip. My sister removed the group photo. My cousin untagged me from a memory post she'd recycled from 2 years ago. No apology, just quiet erasure. Back home, I went through my inbox and unsubscribed from all the family email threads. I didn't announce it. I just backed away, quietly. Let them fill the gaps however they wanted. 2 weeks later, Marcus sent over the revised floor plan for the main hall. It had options for a library nook, a small meeting room, and a garden view workspace. I told him to move forward. Then I emailed a friend from college who runs a domestic violence nonprofit, asked if they'd be interested in using the resort for their staff retreat. She called me an hour later and said yes. They didn't need to know what the place used to be. They didn't need to know who it had once belonged to or who it had once excluded. They just needed somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful, somewhere that made space for people who usually get pushed to the edges. I gave them that. Back in the city, things started shifting too. My sister stopped texting. My mom didn't call for my birthday. My brother sent a happy holidays message in December, but it felt like something copied and pasted. I didn't mind. I didn't miss the performative closeness, the invitations that came with strings, the polite requests for help disguised as small talk. Instead, I started hearing from people I hadn't expected. An old coworker reached out, said she'd heard about the resort from Marcus and wanted to collaborate on a wellness event. A friend from grad school asked if I'd consider hosting a mentorship weekend for young women in business. It wasn't the life I'd imagined 5 years ago, but it was good. It was mine. I still saw the family sometimes. At weddings, funerals, the rare birthday party I happened to be looped into. We were civil. They didn't ask questions. I didn't offer answers. But every once in a while, I'd notice the pause. Like when my dad saw me walk into a room and looked for a chair to offer me, but found they were all taken. Or when my mom introduced me to someone new and hesitated just long enough before adding, "This is my daughter." Or when Lauren stopped mid-sentence at a cousin's baby shower, realizing she was telling a story I wasn't part of. I didn't fill the silences for them anymore. They could sit in the discomfort they created. And slowly, without needing to say it out loud, they began to understand what they'd given up. It wasn't just the vacation, or the help, or the quiet support. It was access. To me, to my loyalty, to my time. They didn't get to have that anymore. And the irony was, once they no longer had it, they finally seemed to realize how much it had mattered. The message came that night. I didn't know they were going to do that. I'm sorry. It was from my sister, the same one who hadn't returned my texts for 2 months last fall, the same one who smiled in the group photos, who laughed at the dinner table while I watched from a distance. I didn't block her, I didn't respond either. I just read it and set the phone down. There was a time I would have called her right away, given her the benefit of the doubt, assumed the best, but that time had passed. I didn't need to punish her, I just didn't owe her my immediate trust. 2 months went by. Then, on a Thursday morning in early spring, she asked if we could meet, just the two of us. I said yes. Not because I was ready to forgive her, but because I was finally clear on what I was and wasn't willing to accept. We met at a quiet cafe downtown, neutral ground. She got there first, already seated by the window. No dramatic makeup, no tight smile, just her, small, tired-looking, and unsure of where to start. She stood when I walked in. I didn't hug her. We sat. She asked how I was. I said I was fine. Then I asked what she wanted to talk about. She didn't waste time. I didn't know they were excluding you from the trip. Not really. I knew something was being planned, but I thought they were just waiting to confirm dates. I didn't say anything. I should have followed up, she said. I should have noticed when you weren't in the thread, but I didn't, and that's on me. Still, I didn't speak. She took a breath. When I saw what you did with the resort, I was shocked. Not angry, just surprised. But then I started thinking about it, and I realized it made sense. We all leaned on you, constantly, and we didn't see it, or we chose not to. She looked at me. I'm sorry, really. I believed she meant it, but that wasn't the same as trusting her. I'm not interested in patching things up for the sake of appearances, I said. So if you're here because Mom asked you to fix this, don't bother. She didn't, she said. She doesn't even know I texted you. I nodded. Then here's what I need if we're going to try anything, I said. No guilt, no family pressure, no pretending it was all a misunderstanding. You own what you did, you don't make excuses, and you don't expect me to go back to how things were. She nodded, okay. I'm not going to be the one reminding you of birthdays, or showing up early to set tables, or covering when people fall through. That's over. I understand. We sat in silence for a few moments. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. I had this for you since Christmas. I didn't know if I should send it. Inside was a handwritten letter, just a few paragraphs. No dramatic gestures, no elaborate apologies, just her voice on paper. It felt real. We talked for another hour, nothing too deep, just gentle, lighter than it used to be. She asked about the resort. I told her booked it out to a few nonprofits, and that I was planning to open it to the public the following season. I'd like to see it, she said. Maybe someday, I replied. When we left, she gave me a hug. I didn't pull away, but I didn't linger either. I told myself I'd wait, watch. Not because I wanted her to prove something to me, but because trust isn't given, it's built. And this time, I wasn't handing anything over for free. A few weeks later, she texted again. It wasn't dramatic, just a simple message. Thinking of you today, hope you're well. That's all. But she didn't ask for anything. Didn't push. Didn't assume she was entitled to more. And that, more than the apology, was what made me believe something might actually change. Not overnight, not all at once. But maybe. If she kept showing up the right way. If she learned how to see me clearly. If she stopped treating love like a service to be used. Then maybe there was something we could rebuild. Not the old version. Not the version where I was the one always doing the work. Something quieter, more even. I wasn't hoping for a perfect ending. Just a better start. It's been a year. I didn't mark the date on a calendar, but I knew when it was coming. The same week, same season, same stretch of warm days that used to mean beach trips and group texts and sunscreen reminders. Now it means something else. A different rhythm. a different version of myself. The resort looks nothing like it did when I bought it. We added weekend retreats, opened up the main hall for wellness workshops, even partnered with a local school to host a scholarship program for students interested in hospitality. I didn't put my name on the events. I didn't do any interviews, but the impact is there. Quiet, steady, measured. The only place my name is visible is on the plaque in the lobby. Owner Emmy Viganes. That was enough. Most weekends, the place is booked. Not by influencers or vacationers, but by women's organizations, mentorship circles, small groups doing real work. I didn't build it for revenge. I built it for recovery, for rest, for something good. I never posted about any of it, not once. No announcements, no clapbacks, no dramatic captions aimed at family. But word travels. A few months ago, Marcus called me laughing. Guess who tried to book the resort under a different last name? I didn't need to guess. Was it them? I asked. He sent me the reservation form, different email address, slightly different spelling on my mom's name, but still them. They used a prepaid card, he said, but the assistant manager flagged the names, denied the booking. I didn't feel vindicated, just affirmed. They still didn't understand that I wasn't blocking them out of cruelty. I was setting a boundary, one they didn't get to step over just because time had passed. That same week, my sister texted me. She said I told them to stop trying. They still don't get it. I replied this time. I know, but thank you for saying something. We met for coffee the next day. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't deep either, but it felt real. She asked if she could help with the scholarship fund. I said yes, not because I needed her to, but because it mattered that she offered. Small steps, no shortcuts. At family events, things are quieter now. I go when I want to, I leave when I'm ready. I don't stay late to help clean up. I don't send the reminder texts. And no one asks me to anymore. They don't joke about how organized I am. They don't toss responsibilities my way under the guise of trust. They look at me like someone they don't quite understand. And that's fine. They don't have to understand me to respect the space I've built. At Thanksgiving, my cousin Lauren tried to bring up the trip, just a quick comment about that wild time last year. I looked at her, waited. She changed the subject. My mom doesn't bring up the resort at all. Neither does my dad. But I saw her once, during dessert, staring at my phone while it buzzed with an email from the event's coordinator. She glanced at the subject line, retreat weekend, full booked new inquiries, and then looked away. They know that's enough. I didn't want them to grovel. I didn't want an apology, not anymore. What I wanted was clarity. And that came, slowly, with every ignored message, every unspoken truth, every silent choice to keep myself out of the spaces where I was only valued for what I gave. What I wanted was to stop feeling like I owed anyone my presence. Now I don't. There's a photo on my desk at the resort. It's not of my family. It's of the first group of scholarship recipients standing together under the garden lights, smiling like they belonged there, because they did. That photo reminds me what I rebuilt, and why. Not for revenge. Not even for closure. But for control, for peace, for a version of home where no one gets to uninvite me, ever again. Sometimes people ask if I miss how things were. The old family trips, the loud dinners, the texts that made it seem like we were closer than we were. I don't. What I miss, what I still grieve, maybe, is who I used to be in those moments. The version of me that gave everything away and waited for someone to notice. The one who thought loyalty guaranteed love. That effort meant inclusion. She's gone now, and I'm okay with that. Because the version of me who owns this place, the one who made space for herself when no one else would, she's someone I can live with. Someone I can trust. And the next time someone tries to tell me there isn't room, I'll remember. There is. Because I built it. And I decide who gets to walk in. So what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have confronted them or walked away like I did? Have you ever been excluded by your own family, even after everything you gave? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit close to home, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real stories about setting boundaries and reclaiming your worth. Your story matters too.